Hello, hello, hello! How are you guys doing this evening? Oh my gosh, it is so cold outside. It is currently 9:56 p.m. on this freezing, frigid, cold Tuesday evening going into Wednesday. I just filled my gas tank. It cost me $68.39. It is currently 23 degrees outside. I do not believe that it is 23 degrees. It feels like it is -5 degrees outside. I just took my coat off before I got in the car. And I am sitting at the Get-Go Cafe and Market where I got a fountain pop. And just finishing up my coffee. I was paying for this inside, and this woman came in behind me, and she had this big bottle of wine. I just left my meeting, my home group meeting, and so this woman came in behind me, and she had this big bottle of wine, right? And she said something about, she looked at me and she said, "Oh, what a night," or something like that. And I said, "Oh," I said, "it looks like it's gonna get a little bit better," or something. She goes, "After the night I've had," she goes, "this bottle of wine is gonna make everything better," or something. And I was like, "Oh my Lord." She's like, "Oh, work has driven me crazy." And I said, "Where do you work?" And she told me where she works. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, "I hope your night gets better." You know, she goes, "It is going to she goes, "It's about to get better once this hits," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, yeah, but that was my little interaction at the Get-Go gas station. I got a Diet Pepsi, so cheers for the Diet Pepsi. And I just left my home group meeting. Tanya could not go tonight because she got out of the kennel too late, and then was doing a bunch of stuff around the house, and so we had like stuff that we were voting on, stuff. We had a business meeting tonight, so I was like, I got done with my stuff, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the meeting. And I went to the meeting, and it was fantastic. We had such a great meeting tonight. You know, we split off into like smaller groups, and my group tonight was about the 12th step and having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. So we were talking about like our spiritual awakenings. We were talking about how like our spiritual beliefs help us, like at times of loss and things like that. It just was such a fantastic meeting. And yeah, I heard some things that like I really, really needed to hear tonight. And I left the meeting and I just felt like full. I just felt full, like emotionally and spiritually. I just felt full and of grace. And I'm so happy that I went tonight. It was such a good meeting. And there were a lot of people at this meeting that I didn't know, because somebody got like a token that had quite a bit of time from somebody that goes to my meeting for their birthday, and that person sponsors a lot of people, I guess, and brought those people with them. So there were like a lot of people in our meeting that I didn't know, so I got to meet some new people, which was really cool. And it was just it was really nice. I just got off the phone with Tanya on my way over here, because I was telling her about the meeting and stuff, and she said she was sad that she missed it. One second, let me return this text. Okay. Should I read a few of the comments from the vlog first? Let me go in here and see what people had to say on the vlog. They were playing that Bob Marley song in the gas station, that "Stir It Up." Now I have that song stuck in my head. Okay. I don't feel like bringing out my glasses, so I have to hold the phone out. Tamita said, "Thank you for your videos, Peter. They help me so much." Oh, thank you so much. Lisa said, I can see what people are saying, but I can't see the names as well. Lisa said, I am home and it is so cold. I am missing Florida. One more I love you. Aww. Okay, Michelle said, when are you going to tell the adopt a family story? Did I not tell that on here? I think I told that on here. Well, I can tell that tonight. Megan said, oh, referring to the soap, is it Dr. Squatch? I think you said dry. I've had my eye on that for my son, so you'll have to let us know how you like them. Well, I just ordered them, so those should be here probably within a week, I would think. Sherry said, Sherry or Cherie said, I like to save these for when I'm doing my own driving around, but I need the comforting sounds of Peter driving and talking to all of us. Loved to all. Oh, I love that. You guys are so sweet. Troy said, hey, Peter, can we please get a pool vlog next summer? The one you did this past summer was so awesome. Of course, I cannot wait until it is time to do a pool vlog again. Tiffany said, Dr. Squatch, been thinking about trying those for my husband. Their ads are hilarious. Nola Boo said, I just adore you and your husband. Oh, you are so sweet. People are so nice. Cauliflower said, Peter, you know what's in my basement? Me. Everything under the sun. Well, it's not a lie. Annie said, Annie's been commenting on my videos again. I haven't seen Annie for a while. Hey, Annie, how are you? She said, don't get metal shelving that you have to put together. It is a nightmare. I buy heaps of stuff in bulk. I know, that's why I just want to go into, like, this guy has, like, t-shirts and a t-shirt and shorts on. It is so cold outside. Okay. Annie said, warning, I like to comment as I watch, so there will be plenty of comments. Annie said, haven't watched yet, but I just wanted to say hello, Peter, before I started. That's why I just want to go to, like, Home Depot or Menards or something like that, because I know they have those. Oh, you know what? Costco might have one of those, too. Cynthia said the story of your dad doing the Venezuelan Christmas is one of my favorites. That's the kind of stuff that really makes someone feel so special. Love you. Aww. Okay, so... okay, so... the story of adopting the family. Well, if I've told the story of the first family before, I've probably edited it a little bit, because the story, I mean, it's a really nice story, but it kind of, like, is kind of funny at the end. But I'm just gonna tell the unedited story tonight, and it's whatever. So, if I've told it in the past, I may have told it a little bit different. Okay, so this is the deal. So, one Christmas, Alex and I, this is, like, probably, you guys, I have really no idea how long ago this was. But anyway, Alex and I were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for Christmas that year, like what we wanted to get each other. And we were sitting at dinner or something, and Alex said, we have everything that we want. And I was like, I totally agree. I said, we don't, you know. And he goes, why don't we really make somebody else's Christmas special this year? Like, why don't we, you know, find a family that, like, is in need, and we can just, like, go over the top with giving them the best Christmas that they'll ever have in their entire life, since we already have everything that we want or need, you know? And I was like, I think that's a great idea. So we contacted, I don't remember who it was. I know that you can go through several different organizations to contact them about adopting families. I know that, like, companies do it. The treatment program that I used to work for, they would put up, like, a Christmas tree, and then it would have, like, you know, you could, like, take a little ornament off, and it would say, like, you know, gloves, or it would say, like, you know, a coat for, like, a 6-year-old or whatever, and you could take things off, and then they donated all of that to the family. And then you can also individually adopt a family. And so that's what we did. We contacted them and they matched us with a family, and we kind of explained to them what we wanted to do. We wanted to do like, something really special. We wanted to do like, not like really like a fundraiser, but we wanted to do something where like all the proceeds would go to this family and stuff like that. So we got matched with this family who, okay, for me to tell this story appropriately, little ears cannot hear this story. So if you have little ears around you, this would be the time to probably ask little ears. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because I'm just going to say it unedited. So, I mean, and there's nothing bad about it, but you guys get what I'm saying about little ears. Okay. So, I'm waiting for you guys to pause the video for little ears. Okay. So, we got matched with this family, and it was a dad, a grandma, and then like a teenage daughter, and then like 3 like younger siblings. And so you talk to the one, like you talk to the main person, contact person, and like the way that it was, I think it's originally supposed to work is like through this one organization we looked at, you never meet the people, like you never see them, you never like, they just give you what they need and then you just drop it off. But with this organization that we went through, somebody connected us, I don't know how, you get to like meet the family and you get to like talk to the family and stuff. So we called and we talked to the dad, and he was super nice. And this is so long ago, like I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, Peter's like outing this family or something. There's no way you could even put 2 and 2 together and figure out who this family was. I mean, this was literally like 10 years ago. I don't even remember any of their names, any of them. The kids are all grown up now, I'm sure. So anyway, but so I talked to the dad, and he had like recently lost his job, and they were really struggling, and there wasn't going to be any Christmas for this family, like none whatsoever, no presents, nothing. And so Alex and I did this like fashion show thing, and we did it with a friend of ours who like owned this bar restaurant, and he like donated like all the food and the drinks and everything like that, and then all people had to do was show up, and they could donate whatever they wanted to donate, and then like whatever the proceeds were. And we actually got quite a bit of money donated to that, and 100% of the proceeds went to presents for this family. Well, then on top of that, like friends of ours would just call us, and they would be like, well, I want to donate this, or I want to donate that, and can we do this, and can we do that? And we just like had all of this stuff, you guys. Do you know what? I do remember actually what year it was. Well, I think we skipped a year or two. We did it a couple years. We did like, I think we did it 3 times. The last time we did it, okay, that year was either the year of the Sandy Hook shooting, or it was the last year that we did it was the year of the Sandy Hook shooting, because I can remember when that was going on, I was sitting on the floor of our living room and I was wrapping Christmas presents for the family. So it was one of those years. It wasn't the middle year, I know that, because we did something completely different for that. We did it 3 times. I'm almost positive we did it 3 times. Maybe the second time we like helped with, anyway, the first and the third time I like specifically remember. So we get this family, and people are donating all this stuff, and it's really nice, right? So, I mean, it was like overboard. And we even went to Hollyhock Hill, which is this restaurant here in Indianapolis that like my mom had her 16th birthday party at, and people like rave about Hollyhock Hill. It's like fried chicken and like meatloaf and homemade biscuits and homemade green beans. And it's like, I've talked about this on here because Caroline and I used to go there a lot for like Mother's Day when we were growing up. So we went there for Thanksgiving a couple years ago. Well, I contacted Hollyhock Hill and I said, would you guys be willing to donate a Christmas dinner for like a family of whatever that was? It was the dad, the grandma, the teenage daughter, and the 3 siblings. So it was 6 people. I was like, and they were like 100%. So We were supposed to take it over there on like the 23rd. Okay, I mean, Alex and I are like massively wrapping these presents, making everything perfect. I mean, to tell you, like, it was ridiculous. Like, each of these kids were getting like 30 to 50 presents. You know, clothes, toys, DVD players. I mean, it was like overboard, right? Like, I mean, all of our friends like went overboard. It was like unbelievable. And we had like used so much of our own money. Our friends said, like, I mean, one of my friends, she literally just like, she goes, I want to buy stuff for this family. And we went to Costco and she literally just threw in clothes and coats and all kinds of stuff. I mean, she spent like $600, $700 and just said, this is all for the family. And so like, I had it all in the back of my car and I had took it home and, you know, I mean, it was unbelievable the amount of stuff that this family got. So it was like, we were supposed to take it over there on the 23rd and drop it off. And so I was going to get them the Christmas dinner meal the 23rd. They were going to have like their Christmas that night. I explained to the dad. He was really thankful. He was really nice, right? But I started getting these calls from the dad, like randomly throughout the day. And he would be like, hey, he'd be like, I know, like, I mean, at this point, like, he knew everything that we were getting for each of them because he gave us lists of what they wanted, right? So then he's like, you know, like my daughter, my teenage daughter, she really wants a camera. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he was like, you know, is that on the list? And I said, no, there was no camera on the list. Well, she would really, really like a camera for Christmas. And I was going to get her a camera, but like, you know, like I said, we don't have any, it was, you know, they didn't have any money and whatever. And I said, okay. And so, you know, I go out and I buy this camera and, you know, whatever, because I want this family to have everything. And then it started becoming a lot like, so-and-so wants this, so-and-so wants that. I mean, we had gone to such extremes. Like, this grandma was like a huge Elvis fan, and so we even found like this Elvis impersonator. I mean, it was like, you guys, it was over the top. And the dad knew that, and I'm starting to get all these calls like, well, I would really like to have this, I would really like to have that, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, okay? And I'm like, I can't say no, because I feel bad, you know? And so, like, Alex and I are, like, coming home from work, and we're, like, going out, and we're buying all this stuff. Then it came to, like, I'm not gonna get into all of that, but it came into, like, paying bills. Like, they wanted bills paid and things like that. And we did it because we felt bad. I even like contacted some of my friends and said, if you had said you wanted to get involved and, you know, we didn't need your help, but like, if you'd like to get involved now. And it just was like, everybody went above and beyond. So anyway, the whole thing turned out very nice. It just was that I don't know. So we get there and we like park out front and the dad comes running outside and he's like, well, first of all, okay. So one of the things was that they needed their heating bill paid. I'm just going to tell this how it went. Okay, so they wanted their heating bill paid. The heating bill, they said, had not been paid for like 3 months. And I said, okay, well, we'll pay for it or we'll get somebody to pay for it. I don't want you to go through without heat through the winter, you know, but like, give me the account information and I'll directly pay it. Well, no, that can't happen. Can you just give us cash for, I mean, this is where I was stupid about it, you guys, right? So anyway, we show up there and we did this. We gave cash, we like all this kind of stuff, right? So we get to their house and the dad comes running out and he's really nice. He's really excited. He's like, can you just bring in like one bag and say that that's from you? And then like the kid, this is the little voices part. And then the kids can come down and they can say thank you to you. And then the rest of it can be from Santa Claus. And we're like, totally. Like we're 100% fine with that, right? So we bring in the bag. The kids come down. They're like super polite and thankful. They're very, very nice. The house is about 106 degrees, okay? I mean, it is so hot in there that Alex and I are literally sweating bullets. The grandma's sitting in the corner smoking one cigarette after another. She doesn't get up. She doesn't say thank you. She didn't say anything. I mean, I was so excited. I was like, I went to all these lengths to get her these Elvis impersonation tickets, and I like handed them to her, and I was like, you know, I was explaining it to her. I was like, you're gonna have so much fun. You can take a girlfriend with you, blah, blah, blah. And she just kind of took them and threw them to the side. She's like, thanks. I mean, it was like literally that, you know? I mean, I didn't think she said thanks. I think she just kind of threw him to the side. The dad was really, really polite about things, but like literally, so he doesn't even help us bring in these bags. I mean, Alex and I mean, it is literally the entire back car, right, is packed. All of the meal and everything, and the meal is like 3 boxes. I mean, it's like a full turkey dinner, you guys, okay? Dad doesn't help carry any of it in. He just stands on the front porch and smokes a cigarette the entire time that Alex and I are bringing all this kind of stuff in. Alex can see that, like, how pained I am on my face. This is not like the moment that I thought it would be, right? You know? And it wasn't like I needed them to be like, oh, thank you. It wasn't any of that, you know? It was just like, I don't know. I just thought it would be this very sweet kind of moment, like, that, I don't know. And I felt like, I felt kind of like maybe this family, I don't know. I just kind of felt like maybe they acted like they needed more than they did. Is how I felt, honest. And in all honesty, that's how I felt. I felt kind of like, I mean, they had like a big screen TV. They had all of this stuff going on in their house. I mean, Dad had this huge pickup truck outside that was like pretty brand new. I just kind of was like, so anyway, that was that. And that was the Christmas experience. The other Christmas experience, I know that makes me look bad. I know people are going to be like, whatever. But, you know, like, those services are set up for people that are really in need. And having been a social worker for so long, like, I have seen and witnessed people that scam those systems, and it breaks my heart because there are people that are getting lost in the cracks that really, really need it, and they aren't getting those services. They're not getting all of that, right? And so I just was like, I don't know. I just kind of felt like this is maybe not the family. Who am I to judge? I don't know. I'm sure this makes me look horrible. I don't care. That's my experience with it. That's my truth. I just was kind of like, I mean, we're sitting in there. They have like this humongous TV, right? And the daughter, we come in, she's sitting in the corner on this like brand new cell phone, and the teenage daughter and the grandmother's sitting in the other corner smoking one cigarette after another, watching TV. You know, it was just like, I don't know. I just didn't, I felt kind of like a little bit like, I feel like anything that you say on YouTube is just perceived and taken a wrong way. I just felt like there were so many families out there that really were in need. So let me flash forward to 2 years later, because that's the really emotional story. So we do that, and then I guess maybe it was three or 4 years later. 3 years later. So we hadn't done it for a year or two, and I get this call from the service, and they're like, the woman that, it was the same woman we had worked with before, and she was super nice, and she said, oh, the way that they get referred a lot is through school systems. Like a school system, like a school social worker or school guidance counselor, right? So, and in all honesty, like if I'm gonna do something like that, I'm gonna do it right. Like, I want somebody to have a cool experience for Christmas, you know? I have been blessed to have just absolutely magical Christmases. I want somebody to have that same experience, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not gonna just do it. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it and make sure, you know, that it's cool. And that's what I wanted to do with those experiences. And not for me. It has nothing to do with me, you know what I mean? It has to do with them experiencing that, and I hope that that family and those kids, like, they did have the, you know, I don't know. So anyway, we get called a couple years later. It's literally like the 18th of December, and the woman called me, and she said, that was in charge of all this, and she said, hey, she was like, would you guys be interested in doing it again? We had a last minute family that's in need. And I said, I don't know. I said, you know, last time we did it, we had like, you know, 2 months to get prepared for this. I mean, you're asking us like a week ahead. And she's like, well, here's the issue. She said, we have a family that is a single mother. The father was recently deported. Mom doesn't speak any English. And we know that Alex is, you know, bilingual, and that Spanish is his first language. And she said, or that is, you know, his native language, and that Is that how you say it? Alex always corrects me on that, like what the difference is between your first language and your spoken language. Well, his spoken language today is English, but so anyway, she was like, we know that he is bilingual and speaks Spanish fluently because he came from Venezuela. And she was like, so would you be willing to, host this family? And I said, well, let me talk to Alex about it. And so I called Alex and I explained it to him. He goes, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So Alex calls and talks to his mom on the phone, and she has 2 kids. And so Alex was like asking what they wanted. And it was literally like, I'm gonna get real upset talking about this. It was literally like, she was like, my kids need coats. The son was like in junior high. He was like in 8th grade, and the daughter was like in 5th grade. And the mom was like, my kids need coats. They need underwear because their underwear has holes in it. And she was like, if you could buy us some things from the grocery store, like that would be great. She was like, but we really don't need anything else other than that. And so Alex was like, well, can you give us some ideas of some like toys that your kids would want, you know? This woman was so humble. She was like, so this list comes back and it's like her daughter wanted like an Etch-a-Sketch. I mean, which is like $5.99, right? And I can't remember. It was just like all this stuff on there was like her son wanted like a Monopoly game or something. I mean, all this stuff on there was like super inexpensive. And so we had some kind of conversation about it. I can't remember. Alex like talked to her about like at length. And I said, well, what does she want? Oh, this is how it started. I said, what does she want for Christmas? And he goes, she didn't put herself on the list. And I said, well, can you call her back and please ask her what she wants for Christmas? So he called her back and she kept on saying she didn't want anything for Christmas. And so Alex was like, tell me about your son and daughter. So he starts talking about her son and daughter. And so tells her all this kind of stuff. And so Alex got a better idea of what the son and daughter were like. And so, you know, we talked to a couple of our friends, and our friends are like, let's just go in and let's just get a bunch of stuff. So we did. So we went in and just tried to buy things that we thought that we really had no idea, right? So, got a bunch of stuff. I like in my head can see the day that we took it over there. And it was like 2 days before. And we had bought the mom like a coat and some stuff, but like she didn't want anything, like even a book, like. And so Alex called her and said, you have to let us buy you something, like other than just a coat, right? Is there anything that you want? And she said she wouldn't ask. I mean, she would not ask for it. And Alex is like, there's nothing that you want? And so she was like, well, she was like, we only have one TV and it's in the living room. And she was like, the kids are always either, you know, like watching TV on it or whatever. And she was like, oh, that was what one of the kids, it somehow slipped out. They didn't, like, the son would go play video games, like, at his friend's house, and she had always wanted to get him a video game, like, console, and they couldn't afford it. And so that was, like, one of the things was, like, he wanted, like, a Nintendo, or I can't remember whichever one it was. But anyway, we got that, and, like, a friend of ours, like, donated a bunch of games, like, bought a bunch of games and stuff like that. And, okay, so anyway, she wouldn't let us do the Santa Claus thing. She wanted the kids to see us bring it in, and she wanted them to see, except for the daughter, she only wanted the daughter to see like the dad had wanted, like just, you know, one of the bags or whatever, because the daughter was still young enough. But the older son was like, you know, past that age. So he like helped when we like came in and stuff, moving stuff around. But the mom said, you know, like, I like private time in my room. I would love to have just like a really small TV. If I could just have a really small TV to like watch the news or something on or whatever. So So we're like, okay, so we called a friend of ours who like does anyway, we called a friend of ours who does like a lot of stuff with like televisions and entertainment. It stopped. I don't know where it was when I stopped, but the mom asked, she was like, finally, she was like, you know, I'd like to have some private time in my room, you know, if I could just have like a little small TV to watch like the news or whatever on. So we called a friend of ours who does a lot of stuff with entertainment systems and putting them in people's homes and stuff like that, and asked him if he could get us a TV at like a good rate, and also does stuff with bars and stuff like that. And he ended up donating like this massive TV for her bedroom. And then somebody else, because they didn't have cable or something like that, somebody else paid for cable for like a year or two for her or something. It was like incredible. So anyway, we took it over there that night. It was really cold outside. It was like snowing and stuff. And we took it over, and like her apartment was in the back. And so we like parked in front and we're like carrying it around. And so like we brought like one bag in, and then she let us like say hi to the daughter. And like the daughter was like, you know, super thankful and stuff like that. Okay, first of all, this apartment was spotless. These kids were the most polite kids I've like probably that I've ever met in my entire life. They were so super friendly and nice. I mean, you could tell this kid that was like 12 or, you know, 13 or 14 was like really taking care of his mom. She didn't speak any English, so her and Alex are talking. I don't really understand a lot of it, right? So, so then we start bringing in these bags, and like the son had taken the daughter into the other room, and so we started bringing in all these bags, and like by the third trip, the mom just like lost it. She just like completely lost it and started crying. And she was just like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was really overwhelming. So she and Alex start talking. We're like getting ready to leave, and they're like at the kitchen counter and they're talking, and we're like moving things around so that she can take it into the bedroom. Oh, I think we helped her take some of it into her bedroom so that her daughter wouldn't see it, so that it would be from Santa Claus. Oh, that was really cute too. Like we were talking, and what's so funny is I remember the girl's name too. The family was from Mexico, and she was such a sweet little girl, and she was telling us about Santa Claus and the letter that she had written to Santa Claus. And I can remember I was like, well, what did you ask Santa Claus for? And I was so excited because like everything that she asked Santa Claus for, we had like gotten her for Christmas that year. And it was like all on that list. Like either friends of ours had donated it or like we had bought it. And I was like literally like everything on her list was on there, you know? So anyway, the kids go in the other room, and we're standing there talking to the mom. This is one thing, though, I will tell you that I just, since I'm not editing, I feel really horrible about. At the very end, I said, is there anything that you really wanted that we didn't get you? And the mom said to Alex, like she pointed to this fishbowl. It was like this little fishbowl in the corner. And, she said, we had like brought them a meal too, but it wasn't from Hollyhock. Maybe it was Hollyhock. I can't remember. We brought them some big meal, then we brought them groceries and stuff too. But she pointed to this fishbowl in the corner of the kitchen, and it had this dead goldfish floating in it. And she said, I just know, and this is so funny because if you've heard my Johnny story, you know, with my ex who used to replace the fish, she said, she told Alex, I just noticed that the goldfish died, and I didn't know this story till after we left. So anyway, so this was Alex and I went to dinner afterwards, and he was telling me this. So she told Alex, I just noticed while we were standing here that her goldfish died. The only thing I wish we had was another goldfish. And she kind of laughed, I guess, because she felt so bad about it. When Alex told me that at dinner, I said, we have to go get a goldfish right now. He goes, no, we've done enough. He was like, okay, it's now time for you to detach from this situation. Because I was like, we have to go get a goldfish right now and take it over there. So we were standing there. I was, you know, in my coat by the door. Like Alex and her talking, and he's asking her something, and she said something, and I just like, Alex just lost it and just like completely started crying. And like really crying. And she came over and she like hugged him, and, you know, he kind of like pulled it back a little bit. And then she came over and she hugged me and said thank you and whatever, and then we left. It was just such a cool experience. So we get into the car, and I said, Alex, I said, what did she say to you? And he said, I wasn't going to ask, but, you know, like, they told us that her husband was just deported. So I said, you know, like, what's the situation with your husband? And she told him that, she said, he was deported. You know, that he didn't have papers, he wasn't here legally, and so he's been deported. And so Alex said, well, what's the process for him to come back to the United States? And she said, there is no process. He will never come back to the United States. And so she said, and Alex said, but what about like you and the kids? Like, could you not go, you know, to Mexico? And she said, the kids were born here and they're American citizens. And she said, so we're here and he's there. And Alex was like, so, and this had just happened literally like 3 weeks before. And he was like, so, she said, I don't ever get to see him again. It was a situation. It just was like, made us feel very grateful in that moment. So, that was the story, but that was the last time we did it. I don't know why we stopped, honestly. I wish we had continued to do it like every year. It really gets you out of yourself, you know. It makes you really realize how very little you need in the world. You know, we think these things, you know, don't get me wrong, you know, hell, I just changed my bag today, I just changed my purse, you know. I told my husband, I said, I think I need another purse because I keep on changing my purses, you know. But like, I mean, none of that shit matters. Excuse my language. None of that stuff matters. It just doesn't. It's all just stuff, you know. And it's the people that we spend our lives with that matter. And it really is, you know. And the friends and the family that we have, you know, it's like, I always hear friends of mine around the holidays being like, oh God, I have to go over to my mom's house, and like my aunt's gonna be there, and she and my mom always fight, and they get into like, drives me crazy, and my sister's gonna be there, and she and her husband are always just, they think they're better than everybody. And I just look at, you know, and it's like, I wouldn't say this to them, you know, because I think it's something that you don't feel until after it's true, if that makes sense. But like, I don't have a mom anymore. And then these are things I used to say. I'm sure, oh my God, knowing how, you know, at times volatile my mom and I's my relationship with my mom was, I'm sure there were many holidays that I was like, God, I don't want to go and spend Christmas with my mom. I'm sure I said that, you know. I'm almost positive of it. But, you know, after you've lost people and you're older and you realize that, God, you just, you know, love to have one more Christmas of taking a walk on the ice and then watching the midnight mass, you know, with your mom, drinking a cup of coffee and you're both sober. There's something about it, you know, or that you just love to have Christmas Eve dinner at your aunt's house one more time. You know, it's like, it really puts it in perspective for you. But I don't think you really appreciate those things until they're gone. I really don't, you know. I remember my cousin a couple years ago, like, it was like the year after my mom died, or after her mom died. We were talking up on the phone, and she said, Caroline said, don't you just wish that we could have, like, just one more day with my mom and your mom and grandma? And I was like, sure, Caroline, but like, what's the point in wishing for that? You know, like, because it can't happen. I feel like my cousin's going through something very sentimental right now. I don't really know what it is. She like texted me last night and she's like, does it upset you when I post pictures of us on Facebook? I was like, no. She's been posting pictures in the Vloggerinos. She loves that Vloggerinos group. You guys are never going to get rid of my cousin in there. And I was like, no. I said, post whatever you want to post, you know. And it's hard, you know, it's like hard as you get older. And you realize, like, you just don't have that many people around anymore, you know? I mean, honest to God, for much of my life, I mean, after, like, I was older, like, high school and older, like, the only times I would see my aunt and uncle and my cousin for, like, years on end was holidays, because we just we weren't that, in birthdays, like, we just weren't that family that, like, my mom would get together with my aunt and uncle, like, every weekend, right? But, like, when I had moved out or, you know, was living on my own, it's not like I was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see them as much. Sure, we were still super close. I loved them. My aunt would call me from time to time and stuff like that. But it's like, I wish I could go back and be more involved with my family. I wish, you know, it's like, you know when people say they don't have any regrets in their life? Well, my life is where it's at today because of how where my life took me, you know? So, it's not that I necessarily have regrets, it's that I would do some things differently. Like, I've really thought a lot about this lately. I go back and forth between this, like, if I could be out in high school, would I have been out in high school? You know, I think knowing who I am today, if I didn't have the fear that I had in high school of getting my butt kicked, honest to God, I think, and you know, 1990 is a different world. It really was. You know, it's like, by the way, I just have to say the new Misfortune book came out on Audible today. So once I finish that book, Sarah, which I have to tell you, is probably one of the weirdest books I've ever read in my entire life, by J.T. Leroy. It's about this lot lizard that they think has been, like, sainted by this jackalope, and then they start treating. You guys, it is so weird. It is the weird. I don't, like, in reading it, listening to it, I don't even remember reading this book before. I remember part of it at the beginning, and I'm like, I know I read this whole book, but I don't remember any of it. But anyway, it's so weird. I don't even know that I would. I mean, if you like real weird stuff, like, it's intriguing to listen to, but it's real weird. It's really, really weird. I would actually almost recommend reading the physical copy of it because the narration is not bad. I like the narration, but the voices that the narrator does, like, I don't feel like she nails them for the characters in the book, if that makes sense. So she does a lot of different voices, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just like, it's not bad, but yeah, it's not bad at all. It's just, I would recommend reading the physical copy book. But anyway, and then I'm going to read the Misfortune book. Going back to what I was saying, 1990 was a different world. You know, like, I don't know a lot of people that came out in 1990 in high school. Like, yes, like, I came out very quickly after that, you know, when I didn't have to go to school every day. The fear of being beat up, the fear of violence, the fear of being more ridiculed than I already was. I don't know, like, that I had really conceptualized being out. Like, I don't know that you really get it. Like, in your head, like, for me, and that transition was very easy because my family and friends were so accepting. But had they not been, like, okay, that would have been totally isolated hell. I had friends of mine who were kicked out of their homes and, you know, didn't have any friends and didn't have any family, and on and on and on. At 17 or 18, well, not 17 because I didn't know anybody that came out at 17, but at 18, right? So, like, when I was in high school, had I come out, I didn't have any reference point. Like, there weren't other people that were out. So, for me, that reference point of what that would have, I just got the craving for, like, a block of cheese, just like a piece of cheese on a cracker or a pretzel. Mostly a pretzel. I don't know why. Like, just sharp cheddar on a pretzel. I just got the biggest craving for that. But back in the day, there was no reference point for what that, I couldn't conceptualize it, of what that would be like, right? All I knew was fear. All I knew was that it was going to be 10 times worse than it was, how it already was. That if I was being ridiculed and bullied the way that I was, it was just going to be tenfold. I don't even know that that's true. How much harder could I have been bullied? How much more could I have been made fun of, right? Like, they're going to be like, ooh, you're gay. And I'd be like, yeah, I am. What so? But, like, I couldn't figure that out in my head. I couldn't make sense of that. Does that make sense? Because fear was standing in the way of that. But if I could go back and do things differently, I actually remember, like, watching Gigi Gorgeous before Gigi transitioned and was, like, in high school and was, like, I remember watching this video and was you know, Gigi was very involved in high school and did a lot of videos talking about that. And they were really helpful to me, honestly, even though they were so much younger at that point. And I remember they said in a video one time, if I said she, Gigi goes by they, them pronouns now. I'm almost positive of, so I apologize for that. But Gigi said at the time, like, being involved in like pep rallies and stuff like that in high school was like, well, you got to do it. Now, you know, like, you got to be involved. And I can remember watching that video and thinking, well, no, you don't have to. I wasn't. And, you know, if I could go back, I think one of the things I would do is, if I could tell my younger self, it's going to be okay. Because I also think that maybe I would have been teaching other people that they can do it too. I would have come out in high school. I would have come out in high school and I would have been more involved. I would have gotten involved in clubs. I don't know that I would have taken sports because I could care less about sports, but I would have shown up. I would have suited up and shown up and actually participated in high school. I maybe would have got involved in drama. That was something that I kind of always wanted to do, but I was too afraid of it. You know, I think that, like, I wish I had some of the confidence that I have today to just say, F it, life is too short. But the reality is you have to go through a whole hell of a lot to get to the point where you're like, life is too short. You know, you have to lose a lot to realize how short life really is and how precious it really is. But if I could go back, knowing what I know today, knowing that they couldn't hurt me any more than I was already hurt, I think I'd come out. I think I'd come out in high school and, you know, I don't know. I used to get real bitter that, like, you know, all my friends could have crushes that they talked about, and I couldn't do that. Like, I didn't get bitter about it. I just felt like I had to keep that, like, so, like, quiet on the down low that I couldn't say, like, oh, I thought this guy was good looking or whatever. You know, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have made any difference at all. I think there's a life of mine out there. I do believe in, like, split, what do you call it? Realms and things like that. What was that author that, Blake Crouch? God, his books are fantastic. It's about time for a new Blake Crouch book. Recursion, I think, was his last one, but he talks about split dimensions and, you know, different lives and things like that. And I kind of do believe in that, like, from a physics point of view, of which I don't understand physics at all. And so I highly appreciate Blake Crouch because I should look it up and see if he's got a new book coming out, because he, like, kind of dumbs down the physics to make it into real things, or to understandable for, like, the layman like me that doesn't understand any of that stuff. But anyway, I do think if that's true, that there's a world out there where Peter came out in high school and Peter was not like that. Even though I'm genetically predisposed to be an alcoholic and an addict, I just never picked up that wasn't of interest to me. And that, you know, I was very involved in high school, and I had all different kinds of friends, and I ended up going to a college campus and having my first boyfriend, and, you know, studying fashion or whatever, or creative writing, and going to a big city, and, you know, I don't know. I think there's a life of mine out there somewhere that was like that. And I don't for one second regret the life that I have. I have, like, I say this a lot, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. I just said this today in my video on my Peter Does Stuff channel. I have a truly, truly amazing life. I'm so thankful for it. Hell, I got the best husband. Oh, this stupid camera. It's out of focus. I got the best husband in the entire world. You know, I mean, I just, like, look at him and I think, God, how did I get so blessed? You know what I mean? Hold on just a second. I'm gonna actually stop this real quick. Where am I at on time? I want to make sure that I know. Okay, is it gonna refocus again? If it's gonna refocus, I'm not gonna stop it. Oh, there, it refocused. But, you know, I look at my husband and I think, how did I get so lucky? Or, you know, I talk to my mother-in-law and I think, God, how did I get so blessed to have such an amazing mother-in-law? Or, you know, like, I see people, like, listen to Tanya and I think, that's my best friend. You know, like, I see her and, like, you know, interact with people, and people are always just like, God, Tanya, you're so cool, and you always say the wisest stuff. And I'm like, that's my best friend, you know? I'm so proud of that woman, and I love her so much. And, you know, for being the greatest mom in the world, and raising the greatest son, to just, you know, loving dogs, and just being the friend that laughs with me with a fountain pop. You know, there's just I feel so blessed for the life that I have. I love my little Christmas, cozy Christmas front porch. I love my dogs, you know. I love everything about my life. That doesn't mean that I don't, from time to time, wonder what would have happened if I had lived different lives, you know. I think there's a life out there where I end up going to New York City and working for some fashion house, and I ended up becoming a fashion designer. That was always my dream when I was in high school. I don't know. Maybe that same dream, I find out I'm not talented at all, you know, and I end up, I don't know, working for Vogue magazine, and today I'm the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. Maybe there's some life out there where I'm living on a little cabin in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, you know, and I work at the local gas station. You know, I think happiness comes in all different kinds of forms. And I've had a lot of moments in my life, you know. There was a moment where, this is kind of funny. I'll have to tell this story. Hold on a second. There was this lead that I heard years ago. It was like a circuit speaker that spoke. That she got sober, and like the same time that she got sober, which was probably like in her late 30s, early 40s, her husband started going to Al-Anon, which is a sister program to Friends and Family of Alcoholics and Addicts. And then her kids were in like Alateen. And then down the road, her son ended up passing away in a motorcycle accident, which was part of her story, which was tragic. But her daughter ended up meeting her husband in Al-Anon, because her husband was an alcoholic. And so the parents ended up buying this land out in the middle of nowhere, and so they bought this land, and they ended up calling it something like Serenity Hill or Sobriety Hill or something like that. And they like both built these houses on there, and they had like, you know, little lake, little pond, and all this kind of stuff. And it was all like fenced in with this white picket fence and all this kind of stuff. And they would go to each other's houses for dinner. And I can remember after I heard that lead, this was like right after I came back into the rooms of recovery, like right after I got the 4 years that I didn't go to meetings. This was like right after I came back in, and I can remember hearing that, and so I went home and I told Alex all about it. I listened to this whole like lead story, you know, and I got home and I said, oh my God, like listen to this lead. Like I would really love this. I would love if we bought this land out in the middle of nowhere and, you know, like named it something like, you know, recovery prairie or something. And, you know, and like we could have your mom, and he looked at me and he goes, go ahead, you can do that. And I was like, you wouldn't want to do that? He was like, no, not ever would I ever in a million years want to do that. He was like, are you crazy? And I was like, no, I think that sounds really peaceful. It sounds really nice. He was like, you want to live out in the middle of nowhere where the nearest town is like 20 miles from you, and you want to live on this land with my mom and my family? I was like, yeah, I think that would be so fantastic and spiritual and whatever. He was like, oh, okay. He goes, you wouldn't even like that. He goes, you would be so bored after a year. And he might be right. I do like, I mean, like, that's the idea of, like, that's why I love to read books, you know, because you can read about a family that lives, you know, somewhere like that or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. It's so funny to me, you know, like, I look back on that. He's right. I would never have wanted to live. I mean, I would have gotten so bored. like, that's the thing. Do you ever, like, think you're that person? That's why I love the Cozy Mysteries, you know? Because I can think that I'd love to live in a small little town, but I do truly think I'd be like, how close is the nearest airport so I can fly to Miami or Las Vegas? You know what I mean? Gosh. I have to find that lead again somewhere. I know the person's name. I'll just have to, like, look through and see what it says. Anyway. Well, listen, you guys, I'm going to get off here now, and I'm going to listen to my audiobook so I can finish it a little bit tonight. And, yeah, and so I'm going to get off here, and if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you are having a magically amazing Wednesday. It's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so I hope you're having a magically amazing Wednesday. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, guess what you get? One more I love you! I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and happy birthday, Lena!